Hey guys, it's Selwen here. Finally, I can talk about some positives coming to Battle for Azeroth, and this is pretty fresh news. Just a few minutes ago, before writing this, I was ready to go to bed, I was all settled, and then this post showed up. Azerite armor improvements in Mythic Plus, and that Azerite armor is gonna be targetable, meaning that we are gonna be able to buy them from a vendor. Yes, vendors are back. Partially, come patch 8.1. Now, how does this work? Because this is not only affecting Mythic Plus, but the entire content that you can get Azerite armor in very meaningful ways. So basically, Azerite armor coming from Mythic Plus has been a problem since Battle for Azeroth inception, as it was clearly stated by the community and even the devs. It was highly unreliable and unrewarding, and some might say unfair comparing to the other content like raids. I think we can all agree that getting a chance with capital letters there at Azerite armor per week from the Mythic Plus chest isn't optimal. So the solution was to remove Azerite armor altogether from dropping from the actual Mythic Plus weekly cache. Instead, you're gonna start gaining a currency. The name and the amount of it is still unknown, but will depend on the key level completed on that week. On the blue post, an example was given that doing a 10 plus will award 3 times more than a 7 plus key. Think getting Awakening Essences from Legion. So every week you're going to be getting this unknown amount of currency that you're going to be able to use on a vendor. On this vendor, caches or chests of Azerite gear from the typical item levels 355, 370 and 385 will be for sale for you to buy. The slot will come at random, and from the entire pool of dungeons currently in the game. Think about it like the chests that you can get from the emissaries or world quests that randomize a piece of gear, pretty much the same thing. Obviously, the higher the item level, more costly it will be, so I assume for someone that regularly does 10 plus weekly, getting a 385 will be relatively easy, while someone who can only manage a 7 plus, a 6 plus, will probably have to settle for the 370, but of course you will have the choice, I know, a choice to grind out for those 385s. The aim is for it to take 2 to 3 weeks to be able to afford one chest or cache of your correspondent item level and difficulty of the Mythic Pluses that you run. Now, this will still be quite a randomized system, far better than we have currently, but still quite random. So they are giving us a choice. Again, a choice to actively target specific 385 Azerite pieces to buy from that same pool of dungeons. The cost is just stated as being premium, so don't be surprised for them to cost double or even triple of the cash version, but still they are there as a choice to purchase, as a long-term goal for you to pursue. In fact, these targeted Azerite pieces are specifically meant for the high-end crowd, which, let's say you have 385 pieces on all of your slots, but they are not the best trades, so you can actively pursue now the pieces which do have the best trades. So all in all, this is just absolutely amazing, but there's more. That currency won't only be obtainable from the weekly chest, but also from scrapping or disenchanting epic quality Azerite, meaning if you get shit ones, be from those same caches that you buy, your current ones assuming, raid Azerite, PvP Azerite, and even the emissary Azerite pieces, you will be able to get the same currency from scrapping them. Now again, we don't know the amount of it, it might be practically nothing, but from what we know so far, pretty freaking cool, especially for those out there that want to properly optimize their gear. Now, this new system has a knock-on effect because yes, it's affecting the Mythic Plus system, making running your weekly far more worthwhile. Even if you don't get loot, you're still getting that currency. And yeah, you still cannot actively grind for them, they are still behind these sort of weekly lockouts, which is intended. Even with this system, there's only so many Azerites that you can get even if you do all the raids, Mythic Plus and PvP to scrap for the currency. That's why it's still gonna take some time to get them, but like I said, this is also making raiding loot slightly more interesting. Getting Azerite there will always be worth for the currency. The same follows for duplicates or the PvP pieces. And not only that, it's also making your weekly Mythic Plus chest gear drops a bit more exciting, since you're not gonna get that Azerite from there anymore, which sometimes could ruin it all. I for one was dreading every week of getting an Azerite piece because I didn't want Azerite, I wanted just a regular piece of loot. And I think for 3 weeks straight all I got was Azerite, and they were all useless except for one piece. I would have much preferred getting a regular piece of gear. Plus, you no longer get that weird loot level. For an example, if you did it say 9+ and you got an Azerite piece, and instead of getting a 380 or a 375, which is the intended reward, you get a 370 Azerite, which just didn't felt right. And also remember that 8.1 is bringing more and interesting traits to the fold, and if new dungeons get added in the future or new traits, they can simply add to the existing pieces since they come from the vendor. So yeah, this has very little cons, if any, especially comparing to the system we have now, which is completely garbage. So all in all, vendors are back, Azerite won't be such a nuisance or as boring to get, add more interesting traits on there, and we have a pretty decent system. Like I said, we still cannot grind them out, but still, is the next best solution considering the other content involved, like raids and PvP. Speaking of which, why not add this to the PvP gearing system as well? They also have a cache, so why not? And of course, we also need to know the exact numbers on what is required to actually purchase those items, but yeah, amazing change, all things considered. And apparently, they are listening. How about that? Anyway guys, do let me know what you all think about this. I'm really glad to see this change. Azerite might not be that interesting of a system, but since we stuck with it for the next 2 years, having this change is great, and let's hope there are more to come. As always, thank you for watching, remember to like and subscribe to get more videos like this, and check out my Patreon if you wish to support the channel. Have a fantastic day everyone, and I'll see you all next time. See ya!